Hey guys, how's it going? This is James from Butler Farms, and coming to you on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Got in from church and decided to come down here and check out the garden. You saw in the last video where I'd finished planting and we were waiting on the rain to come in, and it took its time getting here. It finally got here during the night and early morning this morning, and it has turned off cool. It's barely going to touch 60 degrees today. Gotten up to 40s last night, but it's beautiful out here. The weatherman said that it's supposed to be raining all day today, and as you can see, it is just as beautiful today as it can be. You can hear the wind behind me. This little cold front pushed in, but what it did do is it finally got some water on these tomato plants and pepper plants. As I've told you before, I don't have access to water down here, so this will kickstart that organic fertilizer that I've got in the ground, and we'll jump start it and get it going. And not only that, but it'll give them a little boost. It also is supposed to warm back up this week, as down through there where I planted my beans and my peas, getting this water on them, and with the warm temperatures going back into the 70s by the end of the week, it'll jump those on up out of the ground too. So exciting times here, and didn't really want to see this little cool snap come, but the tomato plants are doing good. This little wind that we've got right now is toughening them up a little bit more, kind of hardening them off. As I said before, I didn't get to harden them off sufficiently, so this is helping. And now they've got a little bit of water on them, and they're off to the races, so that's a good thing. I came down today not only to check on them, but also to kind of give you a little garden expansion tour that I told you was coming, and I've been meaning to do it for some time. But before I do, I've had a couple of questions that I want to address before I do that. And the first one is, with all the tomato and pepper plants we have, what do I do to prevent blossom end rot? And that is something that in years past I have had trouble with, both with peppers and tomatoes. And what you'll notice is, if you don't really know what that is, you'll find these little soft dark spots on the blossom end of your fruit when it comes on, and it's a lack of calcium in the soil. And what'll end up happening is it'll make that fruit inedible. Now, there are times where I've cut the bad part out of it and used the top part anyway. We try not to waste anything, but they're not fun to look at, and once they start, it's hard to stop it. So you need to take measures in the beginning to take care of that. And what I do is I use calcium nitrate. Now, I try very hard to do everything organically. I use open pollinated seeds. I do use a few hybrids, but for the most part they're open pollinated seeds, non-GMO stuff, organic fertilizer. But guys, I've tried all the different things for blossom end rot. I know a lot of other people I watch, they put chicken or duck eggs in the bottom of the hole. I've tried the Rolaids and the Tom's trick to get it. It was something I fought all the time. This calcium nitrate is something that I get in a very small bag at the farmer's co-op, and I use very little of it. It only takes a tablespoon per plant, and you just sprinkle it around on top of the soil, and it waters itself. It'll water in around the roots. You definitely don't want it touching your plant. It'll burn it just like fertilizer will. Synthetic fertilizer. But yeah, it's not, I'm just going to be honest with you. I do everything I can to be organic, but that when it comes to losing half of my crop, sometimes I have to do what I have to do, because we depend on this as a major part of our food source that goes into a lot of recipes and things. So I do use the calcium nitrate, like I said, in very small amounts, but I do use it. The other thing that I've been asked about is the close spacing that I've got on my plants. And the simple answer for that is I don't have any more room, and that's where the garden expansion tour comes in, because I will be expanding the garden. But yeah, they are about every 2 to 2.5 feet apart. I would love for them to be further apart, but as they go up and I trellis them, I will have rows of basically walls of tomato plants plants, and they do well here, so I've never had a problem with that. But as I expand, I would love to be able to space them out even more. But that brings us to the future plans. And in the past, you can see where this goes on around. Now, as I've shown you before, this drops off pretty severely here down into this holler, and it's not something I can use for gardening. That's going to be more of a fruit area in years to come. But where you can see the hill going back up, when my wife and I first got married, we lived right there in a place that's gone now. And my first gardens up here started there and came all the way around on this flat spot. It got to be way too much for me to be able to handle, especially with just a rear tine tiller. So I did let it grow back up, and at one time I even quit gardening for about 3 or 4 years, and this went back to lawn as well. But when I started back, this 20 by 50 spot was plenty for us to be able to get most of our vegetables out of. But excuse me, as we've been able to expand a little bit, you can see where my fence ends right there. It'll go on around to where you can kind of see the hill go back up, and it will more than double the amount of space and hopefully double the production that we'll be able to have. Actually, this little spot that I'm going to carry it on around with is actually a little bit bigger than this one behind me. Like I said, it's roughly 20 by 50. This one will be probably about 20 or 25 by about 65 or 70 feet, so it'll more than double the growing area, and I can space my plants out more, and I can obviously grow a lot more varieties and a lot more overall groceries. Now, some people are going to ask what these round spots are where the grass is dead. Tried a little experiment with the mineral buckets that cattle farmers use to grow some different things, and it was a miserable failure. They stayed out here for several years simply because of the workload that it took to get them out of here. But now they're gone, and so it's wide open for me to be able to expand next year. And I've been able to get my hands on a small little tractor that's going to allow me to break this deep and then come back and disc it several times late winter, early spring next year, and be able to carry this on around. And then of course I would have the expense of carrying this fence on around to keep the deer and other things out of it. But that's a one-time expense. This fence has been up for years now, and it does a really good job. Even though it's only a 5-foot fence, the deer never really had an issue with deer getting in, jumping it. Even though I know they can jump it, they generally leave it alone, especially with the dogs that we have around and things like that. So we do see deer that come out here in the holler down here below us, but like I said, they generally stay out of the garden, so never really had a problem with that. But I did just want to show you, I had told you in some of the other videos that the plans for the future as far as carrying the garden on around, and that's pretty much it. Just going to continue on from that post all the way down to where it kind of goes back up, and that will more than double our production ability here. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now, and I'll catch you next time, and God bless. This is James from Butler Farms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you next time.